This is a board out of a Forst wood chipper. Now, I'm bringing you on this little journey with me because we have an issue with this machine where it won't eject the wood when, let's say, it's drawn in a log. It'll get bogged down. Usually they'll know to reject it, bring it back in, chop a bit more, reject it if it bogs down again, and repeat that process until the log is it. Now, as well as that, it's not doing it manually either, because you got a touchpad on the side of these machines where you tap it. It's just a tap pad, and it reverses and goes forward, so you can do it manually as well. That function isn't working at all either. Now, it seems to be, the issue seems to be on block E, which is that one, and it's these two black wires here, if you can see that. So block E, these two wires, and what it seems to be is we're only getting 4.5 volts out of one of them, which seems to be the one for the reverse, and well, it is that one, and the other one is getting 12 volts. Now, they will only have 4.5 volts with the ignition on, and then when they start up, they both should have 12 volts. One of them only has 12 volts. And that's from the board. So I can't look any further than if I go into the board, because that's where the wires are going into, and it's a sealed unit, and we can't take it apart because it's one of those gel sealed units. I talked to a lad about it to see if he could shed some light on it, and he was like, no, can't touch it because it's one of these sealed units. So in the meantime, I've been kind of like, okay, well, we need to make sure that it is the board, because I'm not going out forking out crazy money on a board if it's not the board. I really don't want to do that. We do not like those things, so that is what we're trying to avoid. So in the meantime, I have done my own little bit of research in it. I've sat with the machine for a couple of hours as well, and I've went through all the wiring underneath the machine. I've went through all the relays and changed. I had a relay there, and I said, you know what, the easiest way to do this, I'm going to just see if it is a relay, and then new relay on it. I swapped out relays where those functions were. There was no difference. As well as that, I followed all the wiring. There's no breaks in any of the wiring. All the sensors seem to work based on what the manufacturers say. I was talking to a dude in Forst, and he was telling me, he was like, oh yeah, usually, he says, I've never sold one of those boards, he says, or he hasn't sold many of them, one or the other. But he says, usually when that issue, it's the case that the green light flickers on the side when it's running, and it kind of flickers a little bit, and it's bad connection, and those buttons that have a tendency to go, so you just change the button and it's fine again, and it works. But as we got into it, and I was explaining to him, I was like, it's not working from both ends, so it's not ejecting it, and it's not doing it manually. It's not ejecting it itself under load, and it's not reversing it manually. So in a sense, that would lead me to believe that it's not, let's say, on the machine, it's somewhere electrical, Now, solenoids are being swapped over. Function works when you swap them over. For the reverse, when you put it on the forward, works. When you put the forward on the reverse, it doesn't. The forward doesn't work. So we know it's in that line, and the function and the machine is okay. Still though, with these systems and the way these things can catch it out, sometimes you can fix the yoke and go, fuck, what do they do there? You know what I mean? And it can be down to wiring, loose connection, bad connection, be anything, So I still have went through all the wires, checked everything with regards to that I can think of. Now we're at a point where we're looking at the board. I've even the dude I talked to in Forst about it, he was saying, starting to look like the board. So we're both kind of on the board's case at the minute. But yeah, I just thought I wanted to share this with you, as this is something that is one of the more complex jobs that I'm on at the minute, that I need to get sorted. And I also wanted to see if there's anyone out there, that has experience with these, or has a similar issue, or had the same issue, more likely the same issue. Let us know. Never done anything with these chippers before. and yeah, there's a lot in them for what they are, you know. So yeah, if there's anyone out there that could shed a little bit of light on that, or if you have any, that's cool. Otherwise, stay tuned, and we're gonna figure it out anyway. And we're gonna try and find what the exact issue is. But I'm reckoning, I think it's the board. Could be wrong, but I think it's the board because we've checked everything. We're gonna get the 4.5 volts out there consistently. When you start it up, it doesn't change. The only thing that is on my mind is when the ignition is on, they both only have 4.5, and it's only when it starts that they switch to 12. They both switch to 12. Now, hey, that could be a bad connection inside the board. And I wiggled the wire around to think maybe that might, you know, seeing if it was a loose connection, if we could get any movement on it, but no. So here, at the end of the day, with the history of it, I haven't been the one that's been playing around with it all the time either. So when there's an issue with it, so with that in mind, I don't know if something has happened that's outside of my knowledge, based on that isn't something that would logically happen on its own. Something might have been crossed, or something happened, or I don't know, and that's all speculation as well. But at times like this, sometimes you have to consider those things and think, maybe there is more to this than meets the eye. Other than that though, that's the only thing. That whole 4.5 out of both of them when it's off, 12 when it's on. It works on one side, doesn't work on the other. The only issue I have with that is, it's like, okay, well, that's fair enough. I can't get any wiring diagram or board diagram for this machine. They don't give you anything. There is nothing you can get on it. I've talked to Forst. He says no, it's only basic diagrams they give you on these, so I actually can't look at anything like that. But if we follow the river back, the river leads to the board, and I can't look any further than the board. So I'm in the dark now, and it's one of those things because you're like, oh, you know. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. If there's any light to be shed on that, do let me know in the comments, because it'd be cool to actually get a little bit more information on these yokes, as this is one of those issues that's a deep dive. But that's it, lads. If you've watched this far, I appreciate it, because it's 8 minutes in. But that's the crack. I shall talk to you in the next one. Thanks for watching.